Hi, YouTube. James Joyner. And today we're going to talk about parenting because apparently, parents don't know how to be parents in today's world. And the reason I say this is because if you look at today's world where we have children who are allowed to buy AK-47s and just walk into a school and shoot it up, and we also have people having their kids taken away from them because of this new transgenderism in the world, which I think is a little screwed up, a little more than screwed up. That because we as parents don't want to raise our children in the way of the world and what's going on outside that door, and we want to raise them the way it says in the Bible, or if we want to raise them any way we want to. But as soon as we stop raising them the way that they want us to raise them, it's wrong. They're going to take our kids away from us. So, Christian parents, be diligent with your children, please. So, I've been seeing a lot of it, a lot of this stuff that's been going on, and I honestly think it boils down to the fact that we have taken God out of our schools, that we have taken God out of our lives, and that we've basically stopped disciplining our children. Well, to shed some light on this subject of poor parenting and poor disciplining of children and just letting our children do whatever they want, let's look into God's word and see what God's word says when it comes to taking care of your child. We're going to start with Proverbs 22, verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, even when he is old, he will not depart from it." So if we train our children correctly, and if we train them right, when they grow up, they'll continue to live in that right and good way, not in the way that you see today. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 15, "Foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child. The rod of discipline will remove it far from him." Now, a lot of these verses say use a rod to discipline your child. So just beware of that. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 13. I never noticed this. Proverbs sure does say a lot about parenting and raising your child. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 1. "A wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke." In other words, a child will listen when he's being disciplined. And if he doesn't, well, he's just going to look at the discipline and say, "Well, you're not doing it right," or "You're mean to me, and you don't let me do anything like Billy's parents do." See, and there's a difference between you and Billy. Billy's a spoiled, rotten brat. You're not. Anyway, next, let's go to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. "He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him diligently." You notice a pattern here? Discipline diligently. Something that seems to be missing from parenting today is the disciplining of your child. A lot of these kids standing on the American flag, not standing up for the Pledge of Allegiance, starting fights, going out and shooting up schools. You name it, what these kids have been doing lately, it all boils down to the fact that parents aren't being parents. We don't need to arm our teachers to stop a student from shooting up the school. We need to see the issues, see the dangers, and then turn around and go talk to the parents and be like, "Are you paying attention to your kid?" These are the type of parents who aren't paying attention to their kids, who aren't disciplining their kids, who are letting their kids get away with murder. These are the types of kids, these are the types of parents that need to have their kids taken away from them, because obviously they don't love their child enough to discipline them and raise them correctly. And then they wonder why they turn around and do this sort of shit. Excuse my language. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29. Flippity, flip. Proverbs chapter 29, verses 15 through 18. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child who gets his own way brings shame to his mother. Sound familiar? When the wicked increase, transgression increases, but the righteous will see their fall. Correct your son, and he will give you comfort. He will also delight your soul. Where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained, but happy is he who keeps the law. Pretty much cut and dry right there, folks. If you take care of your child, if you raise them right, they will do the right things for you. They will do things to please you, because that's basically what the child is there to do. You are to raise a child in the way of the Lord, and in doing so, you please the Lord, and in doing so, the child pleases you, which in turn pleases the Lord. Don't believe me? Let's head over to Ephesians. All the way back to the book. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 4. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, that it may be well with you and that you may live long on the earth. And fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. So first off, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Still, children, if you obey your parents, then maybe it won't seem so bad. But honestly, with everything that's going on in the world today, is this really the world we want to bring our children up in? Do we really want to bring our children up in a world where everybody's confused about their gender? Do we want to really bring children up in a world where it's right to give out handouts and not work for a damn thing? Is it okay to raise our children to think that instead of using our words or using these, it's okay to pick up a gun and just start shooting? We need to pay attention to our kids, parents. We need to start being involved in our children's lives. And this is old. I mean, they've been saying this since I was a kid growing up in the 80s. So what I don't understand is what happened. Did we forget that fundamental ideal to pay attention to our kids, to watch what our kids are doing? Because we're not raising our kids anymore. The internet is raising our kids. The TV is raising our kids. Maybe it's time we sit down, get rid of the phones, get rid of the tablets, and just sit down and actually start having, meaningful discussions with our kids. But the no amount of sitting here talking about it is going to actually make it happen. What's actually going to make it happen is parents who actually give a damn about their children and sit down and actually do it. But hey, that's all on you. So this has been Jay Joyner. Peace, love, God bless, and watch out for those kids. Love your kids. Right?